Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach COLIN here. We got Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan talking about the lies that politicians just serve up so disrespectfully to the public. And I've noticed after the past 3 years, it's gotten worse and worse and more blatant and more blatant. And Tucker's going to talk about that a little bit. Joe's going to talk about that a little bit. They touch on something that just happened, which is the Ukraine funding that was passed, $60 billion given to Ukraine, as well as other nations to the tune of $95 billion. If you added another 20, you'd be almost at $120 billion. And that was the exact border bill that Joe Biden was trying to get passed when he said, the only way for me to secure the border is if we pass this bill. Seems like he was trying to get something else done, because this is the exact same bill. And also, I'd love to present the question to everybody. On my other channel, I presented it as well. When I saw President Trump standing with Mike Johnson, can this guy really be trusted? Because he is at the heart of all this. And there are some people in the Senate who are calling for him to resign because of what he's done. Again, the lies are just silly at this point. Let's get into it. Don't forget about the new channel that I have here. It's called Coach COLIN Media. It's where I break away from the Rogan content. We're at 2,000 subscribers. We're going for 3,000 subscribers. And thank you if you are someone who hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, let's get into this Rogan clip.
Understand the thinking. But how about this? You can't participate in lying. You can't lie.
You can't lie, and you can't.
Like, period, though. You can't lie about anything. Just don't lie about anything. Try to tell the truth all the time. If you can't say something that's true, just don't say it.
Right.
You're not required to say everything you think, obviously, and you shouldn't say everything you think. But you should never lie. And if you just stick with that, like, you get pretty quickly back to reason and order, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're making complete sense. And I think that this is the problem when people have information and power above other people.
Well, right. That's for sure.
Which is the problem of governments, which is also the problem of cult leaders.
Yeah.
You know, cult leaders, they get completely infatuated with this idea of being omnipotent and this power that has control over giant swaths of people, and you get to dictate their behavior and you get to tell them what to think. That's very intoxicating, and it's common. It's common in that it's always existed throughout human history. It's a thing that people do when they get power. They abuse the shit out of it. And if they think that you're too stupid to know the truth and that they're better than you, because they do think they're better than you because they're running things. It's a natural inclination. It's a natural thought that people have. If they're the ones, if you guys are a bunch of dopes that are just listening to my orders and I tell you how to live your life and what to do, I'm naturally going to think I'm better than you.
Well, people have lived under those systems since there have been systems. But
always.
What makes it particularly galling and hard to live with is when you call that system a democracy.
Right.
That's too dishonest for me. I would much rather live in a monarchy where everyone thinks the king has been assigned by God to rule over us and his whims are law. And, that makes sense. I don't like it, but at least it has internal coherence.
Right.
When they stand up and pass a $60 billion funding bill for Ukraine, when 70% of the population doesn't want it, when they're ignoring the actual problems in our country, like the economy and the border, and they're hauling in Congress over the weekend to pass something that people don't want, while ignoring the things that people do want, and if they do the same kind of thing again and again for like 50 years, and they call it a democracy, that will drive you insane.
Yeah.
Because it's just too dishonest. Why not just say, we don't give a shit what you want. We are getting something out of this Ukraine funding, whether it's like the thrill of being masters of the universe or whether it's money from the defense contractors, whatever we're getting out of it is more important to us than your opinion. This is not self-government. You don't run this country. We do. Shut up and obey. If they at least said that, you'd be like, okay, I get it. Those are the terms. But if I get another fucking lecture from Joe Scarborough about defending democracy, when this is not a democracy, it's not even a close approximation of a democracy, then I'm going to go crazy because I just can't deal with the lying.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. What's interesting is that there are people saying that now. And I think that's a relatively new thing in terms of mainstream media. And I consider what you do on X mainstream media. I mean, this is what we're on right now is essentially mainstream media. It used to be, you could call it, there's corporate controlled media.
I agree.
And that used to be mainstream media. Mainstream media used to be CNN. It's not really anymore. Mainstream media is what, in terms of the volume consumed, more people are consuming things on Twitter, on X, than there are on anything else. They're consuming information through the internet, through YouTube, for good or for bad, whether it's correct or incorrect. They're consuming information in different forms now than ever before. So more people are saying what you're saying than have ever said it before. And when people lie, and when people bullshit and gaslight, it's more offensive now than it's ever been before because there's so much access to truth that it's just, you could see it now. If you're paying attention, if you're not a boomer who only reads the newspaper, you pay attention and you see it and you go, this is horse shit.
But it's like, I guess what bothers me is that the lies aren't sophisticated.
No.
I mean, I look back over my now sort of long life, and I'm recognizing all the times that I was lied to, but, I didn't know I was being lied to. They kind of pulled it off. Mm-hmm. There's something incredibly insulting and demeaning to tell me a lie when I know it's a lie, and I know it's a lie. We both know it's a lie, but you're demanding that I pretend to believe it?
Right.
What you're really saying is, I have no respect for you. You're like my dog.
Right.
You're a slave. Like, I'm demanding that you participate in my lie.
Right.
The lack of stealth, really, I'm not explaining it very well, but that really bothers me.
Well, there's
lot.
no real other way to lie. You like some of these lies, like politicians. Like, did you see that conversation that AOC had with that man they brought in for the Biden case, and they were talking about what crimes, and she was like grilling this guy. What crimes did you see Joe Biden? Did he steal anything? Did he steal bread? Like, I forget what she said, and he was trying to explain what they were, RICO crimes, and she was saying RICO is not a crime.
I saw
it's
this.
a category of crime. Like, okay, all right. But it's like,
tell that to the Genovese family.
not only that, it's just so dumb to say that publicly, like, and say it with confidence, and to tell a person.
That's the thing. The marriage of ineptitude and high self-esteem is.
It's
really
funny.
the marker of our time. It's like, I have nothing against dumb people at all. My dogs are dumb, and I love my dogs. No, I'm serious. I don't think God cares about your intelligence, right? Only people care. And so it's not a moral category. And stupidity is not someone with Down syndrome, I really believe are better people than I am.
Yeah.
More likely to go to heaven. So I'm not attacking her for being dumb. But the idea that a dumb person has the White House press secretary is in the same category, who has no idea she's dumb. And she really thinks like she won the prize. Like, she's the most impressive. Like, I'm White House press secretary because I'm the best talker in America.
Man, she literally, because he's talking about Korean Jean, mean Korean Jean. She said, I'm a historical figure. She said it out loud. She said it about herself out loud. It was fantastic when she said it. I was like, wow. Just so you guys know, I'm going to show you everything that went on with the Ukraine bill that Tucker Carlson was talking about, from why it was proposed, who proposed it, all the way down to Senate waving Ukrainian flags instead of American flags. It's sad to see. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's sad. But yeah, she said she was a historical figure. Just so you guys know. I just want to put that out there. She really said that. I was so surprised when she said it. I was like, really? Oh, you're a historical figure, you say? Who says that? Who says that? That's the equivalent of being like, I'm kind of a big deal. Just so everybody knows, I'm kind of a big deal. I mean, I stand up in front of you guys every week. I never answer one question. There's a lot of questions. And also, the economy is doing better than it ever has. And this is the greatest president we've ever seen. Just so you guys know. And I'm going to go down in history. Well, she is, but it's going to be a little different. Than what she thinks. She's picturing like Rosa Parks, MLK. That she thinks she's going down with like all of those people. It's going to be a little different, I think. I don't actually know. Now, let's just get into the whole thing of this Ukraine bill. Before I do, really quick, what Tucker was saying about expecting to have us participate in the lie. If you notice from woke culture, say BLM, news, LGBTQ, all of that stuff all requires that exact same thing. You ever notice that you have to participate in the lie? All over. That's what you have to do. If it has to do with who's in a girl's washroom and whether or not this person is this sex or that sex, you have to participate. But like, no matter what, or else you're a bad person. When it comes to the news, anything they say, when they say these lies, when they say democracy's on the bill, when they say, Ukraine is democracy, like somehow they're linking Ukraine to American democracy. There's just lies that you have to participate in without thinking about it. When it came to BLM, I mean, they were calling it mostly peaceful protests. It was just lies that you had to participate in no matter what. And it wasn't because they were convincing. It was because it was just pushed on you, like constantly. That's everything you're seeing with the extreme left, we'll call it. That's the MO. That these are the lies, and you are going to participate. And if you don't, we have a list of names that we are going to brand you as. And if you're in the public eye, we're going to make sure that you get smeared, and hopefully we're going to get you canceled as well. So just so you know, if you don't want to participate in the lies, it's very interesting. From Joe Scarborough to Anderson Cooper to all these people. CNN even said that black Trump voters don't exist. There was actually a segment, I covered it. It was one of the videos. One guy was like, I don't believe they exist. And they were all like, yeah, go expand on this. It was the weirdest thing. And then what else? Oh, I got to find the Jordan Peterson clip. I'm going to try and find that clip right now. Let me try and find that clip. While you guys watch this, I'm going to try and find this clip. Jordan Peterson sums up exactly what's going on in politics so well. There's one thing he says. You know what? I'm not going to be able to find it. But let's get into this. This is where it all started. This is talking about the Ukraine-Israel funding. Okay? Let's go. I'm actually really sad that this happened. I'm only going to play a couple of minutes of this because I can't stand these people.
Speaker Mike Johnson unveiled a Republican-led foreign aid package yesterday. According to 3 sources familiar with the process, the legislation would include 3 aid measures with roughly tens of billions of dollars for Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, and allies in the Indo-Pacific. A 4th measure would include national security priorities such as seizing Russian assets in the U.S., a loan lease program for Ukraine, and additional sanctions on Iran. Johnson says his preference is to vote on each bill individually, but will let the chamber decide.
There are precipitating events around the globe that we're all watching very carefully, and we know that the world is watching us to see how we react. We have terrorists and tyrants and terrible leaders around the world like Putin and Xi and in Iran, and they're watching to see if America will stand up for its allies and in our own interest around the globe, and we will.
Well, but they haven't. I'm very glad he said that. And hope that he actually comes through with a clean aid bill to Ukraine. They haven't said it, but they're talking about it now. What's it look like, Richard?
Look,
I just wanted you guys to get the gist of it. I'm not watching a conversation with Joe Scarborough. I'm sorry. I go through a lot of clips for you guys, okay? But I draw the line at Joe Scarborough. You get maybe a few seconds of Joe Scarborough out of this channel. I'm sorry. But also, I don't want to upset Tucker. Tucker said, he's like, if I get another speech from Joe Scarborough, just so smug all the time. Oh, sorry to disappoint Tucker. Really quick, this is what he's talking about in regards to these speeches that Joe Scarborough thinks he can give on this high horse. And it also applies to the lies that are served up to so many people.
People that are pushing back against the speaker, you can get away with that for only so long. And you can push to a certain degree. And at some point, you blow up the legislative process enough to get what you want, and everybody turns against you. And I think that's what we're seeing here, that there are a lot of people that have just had enough, at a couple of backbenchers that are controlling what they do when it comes to Ukraine funding. And it looks like the speaker, who certainly should be applauded, I will say, for what he's now saying about Ukraine, what he's now saying about the United States' role in the world, something that Joe Biden's been saying for a really long time. I'm glad he's saying it. Also glad that we're getting to a point where a lot of these backbenchers, are what they're doing is going to amount to sound and fury signifying nothing.
It's funny that he said that because that's literally what he is. Sound and fury that signifies nothing. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how that happens sometimes? I got to be thankful for guys like this because it exposes the fact that a lot of these mainstream talking heads are literally, the same way there's a theory that the little green men or the grays, the aliens that people have seen are actually just drones from a very advanced civilization. Well, that's what these guys are. They're drones. And there's people way in the background who can't be seen, don't want to be seen, who control things way more than we would think. And they're just drones for them. There's Joe's going to say this. Fury and sound signifies nothing. Yeah, say it, Joe. And Joe just goes, blah, 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 blah. It's pretty amazing. Let's move on here. This is actually what happened. So that was the bill that's been presented. Again, I'd like to point out, this is everything that was in the border bill, minus the border. Everything that was in the border bill, minus the border. Everything that was presented, that you just saw, that is a GOP led, well, really Mike Johnson led. Everything you just saw was included in that border bill. And then they tacked on $20 billion for the border. This was the exact bill that Biden said, I can't secure the border unless you sign off on this. And I knew there was something very suspicious about that. It didn't make any sense. And even Mike Johnson was saying he has the power to secure the border without this bill. And now Mike Johnson is doing this. Again, let me know in the comments if you think you can trust that guy. I don't know. I see President Trump talking with that guy. He did a press conference with that guy, and I'm just like, I don't know if you can trust him, man. This is what ended up happening in regards to that bill.
On this vote, the ayes are 311 and the nays are 112. The bill is passed. Oh, one voting present. I missed it, but thank you. Okay. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. The chair would remind my colleagues to observe proper decorum. Flag waving on the floor is not appropriate. The House will be in order. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida rise? I said, no. The gentlewoman from Florida.
Stand up. Put those damn flags away.
Okay. The gentlewoman is not recognized.
If you couldn't hear what she said, put those damn flags away. And that person that said that is Anna Paula Luna. So, and yeah, 100%. He said you can't wave flags, and they booed. Did you hear that? These are American politicians. They booed because they can't throw up Ukrainian flags. Isn't that interesting? I find that very, very interesting. Benny Johnson ended up posting this. This says the results. So there was, and think about this in terms of Republicans, right? 100 Republicans actually said yes to this bill. Democrats, there was 210 that said yes, so a total of 310. And then who said no was 112 Republicans. So that's how that cookie crumbled. Here you go. The disconnect is so loud. It's so loud how disconnected they are. Knowing that there's so much going on underneath their feet, their soil, the whole country. There's so much going on. and they're celebrating about a Ukraine bill for $60 billion, $60.8 billion, bringing that up to, I think, like $180 billion that's been sent over there. It's absolutely wild. These people, I'm telling you, man, they should really, if it's not going to be regular people who are in these positions, if that just can't happen, at least they should have to go and see all the turmoil, all the tents, all the turmoil, all the homeless, all the migrants set up everywhere. They should have to go and see it, because when you're just this class, exactly what Tucker said, it's very much like they've installed themselves as royalty. And as royalty, you never have to see your subjects. You never have to interact with them. You don't have to do anything like that at all. Ugh. Here's some more of them actually waving flags. This is real. This is real. Just flags everywhere, man. It's so wild to think to bring in a flag from Ukraine. Any other flag is crazy. Just the fact of thinking that that's what you should do. Let's bring some flags. American? Ha! Screw that. Ukrainian. This was Mike Johnson afterwards.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. The House has worked its will. These are not normal times here in the House or around the world, as we all know, and we had a disturbance here on the House floor just a bit ago. I just want to say simply what I think most people around the country understand and agree. We should only wave one flag on the House floor, and I think we know which flag that is. I said these are...
You know how odd it is that he didn't just say American flags? You know how weird that is? He could have just been like, listen, this is America. We should only see American flags. He wouldn't even say America. I don't trust that guy. I don't like that Trump's around that guy. I think it's a mistake. I really do. I know he's speaker and that he needs them. Look at this whole place just erupting with Ukrainian flags. Wild. You know, and it's exactly like Tucker said. If they were more clear, like that's the reason why I always display my biases, because it's very just simple. I'm like, I like Trump. I have Trump shirts. Like, you're hearing something from someone who likes Trump and doesn't really think what Biden's doing is all that great. I'm very clear about my biases. Sometimes I'll see people in different comment sections, whether it's mine or someone else's video, and they're like beating around the bush. You know, it'll be a video about Biden and they're going on about Trump. And I'm like, wow, it'd be so much more respected. I would respect this person so much more if they just said, I don't like Trump. I'd be like, okay, cool. I know where that person stands. But when they're like, well, the thing about it is that in real estate law, and he actually did this, and it could be rationed that it's $18 million for that house because it's very old and it's not all that good. And it's like, buddy, just say you don't like him. Just say you don't like him. That's it. It'd make it so much better. We'd all respect you more. But this nonsense that you're doing, you know, and it's the same with these people. If they, like Tucker said, if they would just say, we're not listening to you. It's not that we're disconnected. We have TVs. We know what's going on. We don't care about that. At least people would understand and go, okay, that's the situation we're in. But they can't do that. Because honesty to that degree would lead to people having to, you know, do something, right? So they can't be that honest. They have to act like there's some kind of disconnect, and it's like, oh, we're really trying to hear you guys. This is Carrie Lake. You know what? I didn't like Carrie Lake all that much maybe a year and a half ago, but I understand now why so many people are saying she should be Trump's VP. She was the first to speak out about this whole waving flags around thing.
And today, what they did when they voted to further fund Ukraine, and they were waving Ukrainian flags around and chanting Ukraine, I don't know what country I'm in anymore. And I think the American people are absolutely shocked and floored by what we witnessed in the House of Representatives today. And today, what they did when they...
At least she understands. You know, at least she's like displaying herself as someone who understands. People aren't going to like seeing that. You know, she's obviously not somebody who would vote for that type of thing anyway. She seems to have a very America first attitude, but, you know, at least she gets it. Like, people are going to be floored by that. They don't want to see that. Could you imagine you're having trouble paying for eggs and gas and all this stuff, and then they're like, $60 billion for another country, yeah. You live in Chicago, and then your mayor's like, $70 billion for immigrants, let's go. You're going to be like, this is... They don't realize that they're making everybody who's working class, you know, living in poverty, lower class, whatever you want to call it, they're making all of them feel disenfranchised. It really is getting to the point where it's like, do you think you're royalty? Because you should come out and say it so we can come out and say that you're not, and we can all be clear. We could all be on the same page, you know? But we need to know that you think you're royalty first so we can tell you that you're not. This is the last video I got here. Listen to this.
This morning, Speaker Johnson's job in jeopardy.
He's already a lame duck. Then he did this bullshit in here on the House floor, foreign war package that does nothing for America.
After the House passed a series of crucial funding bills in a rare Saturday session.
The House will be in order.
Among them, $60 billion to war-torn Ukraine in its fight against Russia. $26 billion for Israel in its war against Hamas, with billions more for humanitarian needs in Gaza.
The bill is passed.
and $8 billion to Taiwan.
The bill is passed.
But hardline Republicans say they feel betrayed, accusing Johnson of prioritizing helping Ukraine over funding for the southern border.
When we had members of Congress in there waving the Ukrainian flag while we're doing nothing to secure our border, I think every American in this country should be furious.
The speaker's support for the aid an about face after his trip to Mar-a-Lago for former President Trump's blessing last week.
I think he's doing a very good job.
The Trump photo op, not enough to quiet at least 3 conservatives putting pressure on Johnson to resign. Pressure that is only growing after Democrats carried Johnson's agenda over the finish line.
The House has worked its will.
Will you commit to bringing a motion to vacate on the floor if Speaker Johnson doesn't resign?
I'm pretty sure one will come to the floor if he doesn't resign.
But Johnson says he's not going anywhere.
I don't walk around this building being worried about a motion to vacate. I have to do my job.
And Willie, now that the House has passed 3 foreign aid bills and 1 on a potential TikTok ban, the Senate will take it up in one package as soon as Tuesday. And President Biden says he'll sign it into law when it passes. The president over the weekend signing another piece of legislation, renewing and reforming a surveillance program within FISA. Willie?
Wow. When it rains, it pours, eh? Wow. Jeez, that was a lot. All of that just at once, like, and then it's like, anything for the border? And they're like, huh? No, actually, no. There's no more. There's no more left. I don't know. Figure it. I don't know. Ask somebody. I don't know. Man, absolutely ridiculous. You know, the thing that I was talking about at the beginning of the video that Jordan Peterson said, he was talking in regards to Justin Trudeau and how he felt about him as a leader. And he was saying that when you are not competent enough for a position, that you will dumb down or disrespect, push down that position until you are competent enough to be in the position, you know? And I think that's what's going on. Like, if a position's up here, high esteem or lots of power, whatever you want to call it, when you're in Senate and all this stuff, if you're not competent enough, if you don't have standards that meet this, you're going to bring the standards of that position down until it's low enough for you to sit on it. Right? And I think that's what's going on with these people. I really do. It's interesting. The lies, like, you know, Tucker was talking about, the lies that are served up to people so disrespectfully are just, it's just a little mind-blowing to see that they're just really in people's face about it right now. To pass a bill for Ukraine for $60 billion and to not do anything for the border, it's very interesting to see. And again, I keep talking, it keeps coming up every video, but it's really hard to sit back and act like it's a crazy idea that certain things are happening by design. It's really hard when you're seeing the people who are supposed to represent you. They're the one group of people that if they say we are all America first, no one can be mad. No one can say they're racist or anti-Semitic or xenophobic. They're the one set of people, American politicians. They're allowed to just be like, all I care about is America. Everybody's allowed to do it, but them people will be like, well, that's standard. Yeah, of course you are. I understand. You know, I have comment section battles with people about Gaza and Israel and Ukraine and Russia, but I can't do that with you because you're an American politician. So of course you only care about America. But instead they're waving another nation's flag. Yeah, man, it's I don't know. Again, if you're not competent enough to fill a position, you will disrespect, drag down, dumb down that position until it is small enough for you to fill it, until it matches your incompetency, your standards. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about that whole thing. Let me know what you think about what Tucker and Joe were talking about. Let me know what you think about this bill. $60 billion, $24 billion. I think it's a total of $95 billion, all for other nations, nothing to the border. And do you think that Trump can trust Mike Johnson? I honestly don't think he can trust Mike Johnson. I don't think he should be seen with that gentleman. Maybe he has to because he's running. I don't know. But I don't think he should be around that guy anymore. I think that guy is, I don't know. I don't want to say Trojan horse, but he's not trustworthy. The things Trump is very America first, and Mike Johnson doesn't seem like he's close to that. Just from these actions alone. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Other than that, I'm out.